Welcome to Cultured. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by a bad habit you're trying to kick? Maybe this sounds familiar. You said you wouldn't drink this week, and here you are again with a glass of wine and a box of Oreos. You were supposed to get up early and you late canceled on your workout class again, and now you're getting charged. You maybe had some plans to meet up with friends, but you text them and tell them that you're caught up with work, but really you're just watching Yellowstone. Most of our problems in life come from the inability to delay gratification, and bad habits lead to feeling overwhelmed. Welcome to Cultured. Today we're talking about how bad habits can leave you feeling exhausted and tired, and here it is, overwhelmed. When I think of a bad habit, I think of pursuing the things in life that are expedient over what is actually meaningful. And just think about your problems in life. Most of our problems, honestly, start with our inability to delay gratification. And so thinking about that, how do you guys see bad habits leaving us feeling overwhelmed?
I think all of us know bad habits. If someone's out there going oh, what's a bad habit? You know a bad habit because what bad habits do is they create shame in your life. You do them and then you just go, oh, I feel bad. I probably shouldn't do that again. And you're like, what do you typically say? I'll never do that again. And then something happens and you go back to that same habit and then you do it again. And then there's this shame and guilt on you. And then when we keep in that cycle, we say we will never do it again. And then we go back to it. It just creates shame. And I think the hope that we have with God is it says that there is no condemnation in Jesus. And so how we actually break that shame cycle is through a relationship with God. He can change that shame to actually change. And with his help, we can change.
Well, because I think what bad habits do is they pull you away from what's important. They take up all your mental space. It overwhelms you so that anything else that comes into your life, whether it be work, a relationship, it feels overwhelming because your mental space is already taken up by that bad habit.
Yeah, there's a verse in Hebrews 12 and it says that we fix our eyes on Jesus because he's the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. And so what that's saying is don't fix your eyes on the thing that's trying to kill you. Fix your eyes on the person who's already saved you.
That's so good because I think we end up thinking with all our mental space, that's where we get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Is because we're always going back to, I should have never done that. I shouldn't have done that. And it takes up all our mental energy and it can totally destroy us.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what are some bad habits that you see playing out in our culture today with young professionals?
I think non-committal attitudes. So I think in our culture, we see this so much. It's like you get an invite for something and you wait till the very last minute because you're just waiting to see if something better might come along. Or you say you're in school, you're like, oh, I'm going to try this one out. And then, man, you know what? I heard this other one's better. I think that with the non-committal attitude, you're just looking for what's going to make you the most happy. You're looking for, the next best thing, but you're never satisfied.
Yeah. And then that just continues the anxiety inside of you because you're searching for the next best thing, the next best thing, the next best thing, when it was always in front of you if you would just commit to it.
Yep. And go through the process.
Yeah. I think another one, a bad habit that a lot of young professionals deal with is just we live in an over-sexualized culture where sex is really God. Yeah. Sex is the thing that will fill us up the most. And so that goes everything from hooking up with a partner to partner to partner. Maybe it's pornography and you're just going back to it. And as people do that, what it does is it actually is somewhat it brings back that whole shame in you. And as people kind of wrestle with this over-sexual culture, they almost don't know how to even get out of it because it's so consuming. It's in every movie, every friendship we have, it just feels over-sexualized.
Yeah. And I think the glaringly obvious one is these things, the appendage that we call an iPhone. The more and more that I've read and I've studied about the impacts of social media, of technology, of Netflix, of television, is that this technology is staggeringly effective at getting us to focus on ourselves. And what the research would tell us is that when we focus on ourselves, it leads to loneliness, it leads to depression, it leads to anxiety. And so I think that our addiction to social media, our addiction to technology is actually probably the root of so many of the outward emotions that we're feeling.
And all these bad habits, as we do them, it takes our time and we know that we shouldn't do them. So I think that's another cause of being overwhelmed in it all, is because it's stealing our time when we know we should be giving it good habits, because habits connect. Good habits are what change our lives.
Yeah.
Bad habits destroy our lives.
Yeah.
So there's a verse in Proverbs 12, and it says this: whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but whoever hates correction is a fool. And so as you think about like discipline, as you think about breaking bad habits, like give us a couple tips. What are some ways to break a bad habit?
I think just creating healthy boundaries. You know, if you know you have a habit, not towing the line. You know, say if you're like, oh, I'm not wanting to drink. Well, but you're keeping all the liquor in your house. Hey, like that's gonna be so alluring, right? So creating like healthy boundaries when it comes to trying to break habits.
Well, and that's so good too, because oftentimes the things that trip us up, it's often a proximity issue.
Yeah.
And so we're very close to the thing. We're close to the relationship that's tripping us up. We're
Yeah.
close to the substance, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And so if we can create some distance between us and that habit,
Yep.
it's going to lead to freedom.
Typically, bad habits happen when you're fatigued and tired.
Oh,
And so
Yes.
just even knowing like,
Knowing yourself.
I just need to go to bed. That's sometimes what you just need to do. I just need to go to bed,
Yeah.
and then it will change. I think another one that just break a bad habit is having a real friend in your life that you can trust, you can be honest with, you can be open with, and go, hey, this is the thing that is hurting me right now. I'm really struggling with this, and I need some help. And I think so many times we think that we're the only ones.
yeah.
Like, we're the only one that doesn't have it together. We're the only one struggling with this problem. But so many people, all of us have something that we're struggling with. And so bringing in good friends to ask you, to help you, to keep you accountable, to ask questions, and not friends that are going to shame you again,
No.
but friends that are going to love you through it, that are
Yeah.
going to go, I got your back. Let me help you. And you can call them like, hey, I'm in trouble right now.
Yep.
And they're going to drop everything
Yeah.
and go be there
Yeah.
for you.
Well, and with accountability, I love this saying, like, accountability helps you to live the life you want to live. Like, there's a way that you want to live. You want to get out of these bad habits. And finding a friend who you can be accountable to helps you to actually live that life that you're desiring.
And I think one of the ways, if you've been like thinking, how do I get these type of friends in my life? That is really what the Brook is here for. Is we
Yeah.
want to be a place where you can meet new people, meet
Yeah.
good friends, come to a happy hour if you're in Denver, or join one of our simple churches. And this is where people really get connected,
Yep.
where they can be open, honest, and have friends that actually care about them.
Yeah.
You know, we were not created to live alone. We were not created to do life alone. But I think that in our culture, like individualism is growing. Like that is actually how so many people are living their lives. And so I just like want to encourage someone, if they're listening to this, like identify those people in your life that you trust. Like take the vulnerable step of being honest, but also find a community of people who can surround you, who are good for you, who can push you, who can challenge you and encourage you. Because ultimately, like that's what's going to change your life.
Well, and even with the Brook, if you're not in Denver, we have connections all around
Yeah.
the United States. We would love to connect you with some good friends.
Yeah, and one of the best ways to get connected is just on our app, the I'm New form. We'll connect you with somebody in the Brook.
Thanks so much for watching The Brook Online. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and be sure to download the Brook app so you can stay up to date with all the new media as well as all the new events we've got coming up every single week.